Hello, this is Mari Lane on the By in Space channel. I'm reading from the Holy Bible, from the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They are the first four chapters of the New Testament, and they outline the life of Jesus. I'm in chapter 8, verse 14. The yeast of the Pharisees and Herod. 14. But the disciples have forgotten to bring any food. They had only one loaf of bread with them in the boat, and they were crossing the lake. Jesus warned them, "Watch out, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and of Herod." At this, they began to argue with each other because they hadn't brought any bread. Jesus knew what they were saying, so he said, "Why are you arguing about having no bread? Don't you know or understand even yet? Are your hearts too hard to take it in? You have eyes, can't you see? You have ears, can't you hear? Don't you remember anything at all? When I fed the 5,000 with the 5 loaves of bread, how many baskets of leftovers did you pick up afterwards?" 12, they said. "And when I fed the 4,000 with 7 loaves, how many large baskets of leftovers did you pick up?" 7, they said. "Don't you understand yet?" he asked them. I know that there are people out there that absolutely relate to Jesus' frustration. I know I do. When people doubt my abilities, and I've done for them over and over and over again, it's like, haven't you been here? Haven't you seen what I've done already? Why would you doubt that I wouldn't be here for you in the future? And Jesus recently had fed 4,000, and before that 5,000 households, not just people. The 4,000 and the 5,000 refer to households. So he could have fed up to 20,000 people out of a miraculously small amount of food. And here his disciples are arguing over one loaf of bread. It's just astounding. And the other thing that Jesus went through that people can absolutely positively relate to with their friends and family, when he went back home, when he went back to Damascus, people were like, "Well, that's James's little brother or older brother, and that's Mary's son, and that's the carpenter's son," and just put him on this level of like when he was 12. Isn't that so typical of your family and your community, especially if you're from a state, you've moved away after you graduated from high school or college, and then you've gone to another state and you go back to your hometown and you are treated like a little 10 to 12-year-old again. I mean, you certainly are by your parents your whole life, unless you're fortunate to have wise enough parents to see your growth and maturity and are involved with it. That's a different story. But a lot of people go through what Jesus went through with his hometown. So that even happened to Jesus. So don't be too frustrated when it happens to you, because evidently it's just part of human nature. And here, his disciples, who have seen all these miracles he has done, yet don't understand that he's the Messiah. He's the one. He's the chosen one that was talked about in the Old Testament by the prophets. They're still not getting it, and they have been with him, traveling with him, being his disciples, telling others the gospel. Yet, when it came down to brass tacks and being on a boat with a loaf of bread, with 13 people and a crew, they were panicked and arguing with each other. I find human nature miraculous sometimes. But they're about to get another lesson. So I'll continue this next week, and we'll find out how the disciples have their faith tested further. Have a wonderful and blessed day, everyone.